G'day guys, kia ora, my name is Wildkard. Yes, Super Rugby Round 9, the Reds versus the Crusaders, 31 points to 26. I actually can't believe this is the first time we beat the Crusaders since 2011 in the final against Sir Richie and Dan Carter and Sonny Bill Williams. And it's just crazy. It's been 15 years since we won at home against the Crusaders. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy how far behind we are compared to the New Zealand team, and also how dominant the Crusaders has been over the years. Last year they won. The year before they had a pretty terrible year, and it's almost like we've forgotten just the dynasty that the Crusaders has just been, having an iron grip over the competition over the years. It's almost like, yeah, it's like I find it hard to believe that it's been that long that since we beat them at home. But yeah, Crusaders once again this week missing the key star player, Will Jordan. We're going to talk a little bit, dive a little bit deeper, right? We're going to dive a little bit deeper about the Crusaders here. So I think the Crusaders is missing two major components of the game, and it's as a result of missing players. Number one, the defense is not nearly as good as they used to be. And I do think a lot of it is because Scotty Barrett is not on the field. Defense, it's about teamwork. It's about being connected. It's about, that synergy you can create between the players. It's not about the individual when it comes to defense. It's about the collective output as a team. And I do think whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, I do think Scooter, under Scotty Barrett, his presence on the field, the way that he digs deep, the way that he kind of just goes into a dark place when things gets tough, especially like the last 10 20 minutes of the game. I really it's really lifts the team to another level when it comes to defense in those tight games, and we just did not see that in this game for the Crusaders. I don't think that the Crusaders the defense was nearly at the same level, and number two, the lack of playmaking on the field, right? Obviously, Will Jordan has been just amazing for the Crusaders this year. I think in the first round where they lost to, it's the first round or second round where they lost to the Brumbies, Will Jordan wasn't there. And then when Will Jordan came back the next week, it was just like huge difference. The Crusaders just suddenly a dominant team again. And once again this week, Will Jordan's gone away with a bit of an injury. And the Crusaders completely fallen off a cliff when it comes to just being able to, create, have somebody that can threat and pose as a threat and create opportunities for players around him, and being able to just, look up to see what's in front of them and play, eyes up rugby, right? Heads up rugby, right? Something that, before Will Jordan that's been doing such a good job for the Crusaders, something that, Richie Mwonga was doing such a great job for the Crusaders in the past, and now, and maybe even you can argue that, O'Connor maybe to some extent coming off the bench, maybe not so much with O'Connor, but you can really argue that the Crusaders had that heads up rugby, right? Crusaders had that, roll your sleeves up, defend your try line, like your life defender on the mentality. Both of those crucial identities of the Crusaders team was not existent tonight. And I don't know what to say. You can't really say, I don't know. I don't even know if you can blame the lack of these two components just because you're missing a couple players in the team. I do think that in the grand scheme of of your development, it needs to be a culture that's being passed along from one to the other, right? You can't just have Scotty Barrett doing all the dirty work and lifting the players around him, and nobody else can do that once he's left, right? I know, I'm pretty sure Ethan Blackadder's missing as well, so some big names missing in this Crusader thing. No, absolutely. But yeah, I just think it's a bit disappointing. It's a bit disappointing to see this if you're a Crusaders fan. Yeah, plenty of talent still on the field, and you got Welsh. Johnny McNichol actually did really well stepping in this week for Will Jordan, but yeah, just really lack that. that Crusader culture a little bit. No George, no what's his name, Cody Taylor as well. Just really lacked it a little bit on the Crusader side. And another thing I want to talk about as a result of this, right? And this is the second part of what I want to talk about in the Crusaders. As a result of this, the Crusaders was playing kick and pray. There was just so much kicking and so little running from the Crusaders team. I'm going to show you a stat. You're going to find this laughable. You're going to find this stat absolutely laughable. Okay? So, get ready. Get ready to giggle, right? Match stats. Run meters for the Crusaders, 282. Out of 96 carries. The average run meter for the Crusaders is 3 meters. Less than 3 meters. Average carry meter. Is it just me or that's just crazy low? That is crazy, crazy low run meter per carry. I mean, God, like, that is crazy. And if you look at the kick as well, they almost kick 1,000 meters as a result. 951 kick meters. 34 kicks. Like, like, I'm actually surprised the Reds didn't score more points, to be honest, because I think the Reds is also playing a bit of a kick and pray strategy out there as well. Knowing how important this game is, since they lost the Western Force last week. And yeah, let me know your thoughts about that. Like, about these stats that we're seeing here from the Crusaders team, and how do you think the Crusaders come back from this? All right, you can't just surrender every time Will Jordan gets injured, right? Like, you need to do something here. Another thing I want to talk about is the referee, Mr. Angus Gardner. Now, he is a really, really good referee, but I do think that he's under instruction from Super Rugby or whatnot. The big boys the big men upstairs, telling him to speed the game up. Now, I do think that it is important for the referee to keep the game running at a good speed, right? At a time to get everything going in a good speed, and we do have the laws that punishes the teams for trying to waste time. So it is his job to uphold that, and then to enforce the law and making sure that scrums and lineouts and everything not taking too long. But it is not the referee's job to speed the game up for entertainment value, especially. And I do think that Angus Gardner, sometimes seems to me like he's trying to speed the game up because he's under instruction to do so, and not really overlooking some of the decisions that I felt was just incorrect. Like, those were really typical example where I think one of the Reds players got tipped over upside down, and he just said I was fine and didn't even review it. In reality, you should probably review that. I mean, it is not the referee's job to speed the game up. It is the referee's job to keep the game going at the speed that is allowed according to the law. Right? Whatever the law says the speed of the game should be, how long you're allowed to take for each incident, the referee should follow that, and to not go slower than that. But it's not the referee's job to go faster than what the law is allocating, and putting players in potentially dangerous situations. That is not right. And I do think that Angus Gardner had a bit of a problem there. Also, there was one thing I think it's, again, a little bit weird. There was a 50-22 that was kicked by Carter Gordon, and the touch judge says 50-22, but it was really far away. And the referee said, no, the touch judge says 50-22, it's 50-22, even if it's the wrong decision, we need to stick to it. And then the touch judge goes, and then the player's like, oh, we're going to TMO review it. And then the referee's like, we can't TMO review this. That's the law, which is the correct. And then the touch judge goes, oh no, I made the wrong decision. It is actually not a 50-22 after looking at the replay on TV. And the referee goes, okay, it's not a 50-22. Now, first of all, it is correct that you cannot TMO review a 50-22, right? That's just protocol. And if the referee, the touch judge, makes a wrong decision, too bad. It is a wrong decision. That's just how it is. But here's the thing, right? How often have we actually asked the TMO to look at these things anyway? So it's like unclear how this should be monitored, right? Like how many times have we seen like we've just exactly what happened here, and the TMO or TV broadcaster puts a replay on the TV, and then they're like, "Oh, sorry, we got it wrong," or TMO even calls in, even without an official review, right? So like, I just don't know. Like it's like so. I'll just give you another example, right? So what happened here is that you're not supposed to have the TMO inject on this, and Gardner was right. The referee made the wrong decision. We just have to stick to it. But they changed it anyway because they showed it on replay. And in the end of the day, the right decision was made, right? Is this how? I mean, I think this is how you're supposed to go. But again, then then the whole point. Then again, you're not. Yeah, it's not quite right. Let me just give another example, right? So I watched a English Premier League game a while ago now. There was a line out. The hooker, there was like a 5-meter line out for one of the team, attacking team. Might be Saracens playing against somebody, but anyway, that doesn't really matter. But the line out, the hooker, he books a throw. He went, oh, and then he threw with the ball, and the referee missed it. The touch judge missed it somehow, and then the team gets the ball. They did the rolling maul, whatever, and it was a try. And then everybody's like, he booked it, right? And despite the fact that the TMO is allowed to review the try, the TMO was not allowed to overrule the throw. Because the throw is not considered part of the try scoring process. Even though everybody can see he booked it, the TMO was not allowed to overrule that. And the referee just goes, yep, that's part of the protocol. If we missed it on the field, if the touch judge makes the wrong call or missed the call, too bad. The TMO cannot change that. Even though it's part of literally the same phase where the try is scored. So that's like, whether you like it or not, that is like how you're supposed to go. And this is, again, Angus Gardner tried to follow that, right? That ridiculous example I just gave you. But they did not. He tried to follow it, but they end up just changing it anyway. When the TMO had a look, and he influenced the touch judge to change his decision on the field. So it's a bit of a bizarre situation, and I do think that they need to be clearer. Can a TMO tell the referee and influence a decision like this or not, right? I do think that having the TMO come in and influence things and making it correct is the right way. Okay, it's not. I do not think that in the example I gave you that TMO cannot look at the double pump. But I do think that, and then again, it's like, oh, you're slowing the game down. Oh, the referees are slowing the game down. Oh my god. I'd rather have the game slow down a couple beats and have the right decisions and not having fans getting put off and start abusing the referees online, start ranting and not wanting to watch the game anymore because they don't feel like they got a fair treatment. Right? So that's where I stand. I think that the TMO should be able to interject, and what Angus Gardner said initially and being overruled is the right way to go about it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. So outside of that, let's just look at the match stats of the game. 596 run meters for the Queensland Reds, 121 carries, 282 for the Crusaders, 96 carries, 23 turnovers conceded for both teams, 104 tackles made for the Reds and 14 missed tackles, 162 tackles made for the Crusaders, 24 missed tackles, 28 kicks in play for the Reds, 34 for the Crusaders, 3 out of 5 in conversions, 3 out of 4 for the Crusaders. 668 kick meters for the Reds, 951 kick meters for the Crusaders. Yeah, lineouts, the Reds definitely was under a bit of pressure. 4 lineouts lost out of 14. 17 lineouts won for the Crusaders, no losses. No scrum losses for both teams. Nothing too crazy out of the scrummaging there. I actually thought the Reds probably should have had a bit more advantage, considering, Tamati Williams, it's not there. It's injured, and I do think that, and Cody Taylor's not there either. So I know the Reds. The fact that the Reds did not get anything out of it shows the Crusaders actually did a great job. Penalties conceded 8 against the Reds, only 6 against the Crusaders, and both teams were pretty disciplined. I do think that the referee as well, Angus Gardner, there were times when the players clearly was infringing, and instead of giving a penalty, he tells them to stop, and then thus not giving away the penalty. I don't think that's correct, because if you are infringing in some extent, I don't know if that's correct or not, to be honest. I mean, it depends, right? If they're infringing and it's actually affected the game, like you're on the wrong side of the rock, and you've clearly actually slowed the ball down, or if you're on the wrong side of the maul and you've clearly actually affected the momentum of the maul, then you should just penalize them. But I guess if they're not affecting anything, you could just say play on and not give away a penalty. There was a few times when the referee was like, no, don't do it, get out, you're offside, or you're coming from the side from the rock, get out, you don't touch it. And then and then the player followed the command and just didn't get. I think Harry Wilson got one like that. But yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at the points of the game. Speaking of Harry Wilson, King Wilson did his thing again. Did a little chip kick for a try. Absolutely outstanding. But yeah, let's go through the try scoring for the game. So 5 minutes into the game, we've got a penalty for the Crusaders that went for the line out. They went to one side and then swung back to the left hand side. Johnny McNichols threw a massive long pass to Leo Willie down the sideline. Went in for the try. 5 points to 0. 10 minutes into the game, he looked like the Reds scored. Kalani Thomas. He picked up the ball and then just grounded the ball on the try line right in front of him. And as a halfback, he had one of his knees on the ground, and the referee deemed that he could not play the ball to score from whilst having a knee on the ground, which is correct. But how many times I've seen halfbacks have a knee on the ground trying to pick the ball up at the back of the rack, right? But he can't do that while trying to go score a try, so he got one scrubbed off in a pretty interesting fashion. 12 minutes into the game, the Reds went for another line out. They went for a more, and Fraser McRae, popped out the middle of the maul essentially from the side, off the side, and went in for the try. 14 points to 0. 15 minutes into the game. 7 points to 0. The try was disallowed. So 15 minutes into the game, there was another try. 7 points to 5, not 7 points to 0. 15 minutes in the game, this is where King Wilson did his just crazy kick. So first of all, Dalgunu 100th test match did an outstanding game. He ran down the sideline and he tried to throw the back ball in field to link up with somebody, and the ball eventually ended up with the Crusaders' hand. And then Crusaders guy tried to pass the ball to his own players, and he passed to King Wilson, who got the ball and he chip kicked over the top. And then Carter Gordon ran through and grounded the ball in goal for a try. So yeah, just crazy kick from Wilson. It was like one of those halfback little dink over the top. Outstanding. 14 points to 5 for the Reds. 20 minutes into the game, the rush defense from the Reds was a little bit disconnected. There was another line out that was on the maul, and then the ball came out. Johnny McNichol, again, he threw a cutout. Must have been 4 or 5 people, just went over the top of everybody to Fihaki, who went in for the try. 14 points to 10 at half time. 14 points to 12 at half time. Second half, the Is it 14 points to 10? Or is it not a try before that? Yeah, that's right. That's half time. Second half, immediately from the bat, from the get go, there was a Kalani Thomas break, and then it was like there was a ruck. Kalani Thomas looked up and picked up the ball, just ran through a gap. There was no one there in front of him. Some could argue that Fraser McRae cleaned out some of the pillar and post, which should have been a penalty. But anyway, he ran through the gap, grab a kick behind, and then junk out dot ran up. There's a bit of a scramble for the ball in the end goal area. Grounds the ball. 21 points to 12. Sorry, 19 points to 12. 52 minutes in the game. Another Crusaders penalty that went for the more, and then this time Bell goes in for the try. 19 points to 19. 74 minutes into the game, Dalgunu 100th cap gets the big try. So the Reds had a line out. The ball popped out from the top. A crash ball from Paisami into the 10 channel. Got about 1 meter short from the try line. The ball come out. A couple of pick and drives, and eventually Dalgunu picked and go himself for the try. 24 points to 19. After this, 77 minutes, the Crusaders were building, looking for to stuff out a historic win from the Reds. And then there was a missed pass, and Wershong get the intercept, ran 50 meters for the try. 31 points to 19 after this. And then just before full time, the Crusaders were working to get a bonus point. They went for the line out, went for the more, and then they passed the ball out to the short side, and Fihaki ducked into the corner for the bonus point. Loss 21 points to 26. But let me know your thoughts, and let me know your thoughts about the referee. I do think that they should just let the TMO tell the referee what they see, and then let the referee make the decision. And I do think that it's so murky. It's so I do think that the way they're going about it in terms of speeding the game up, it's taking a bit too far. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. See you guys next week for the news. Cheers.